everybody. Welcome to Sports Rambling. I am your host, Brian Belcito, and today is September 9th, 2020. I just wanted to check in. We've got a busy time going on in the sports world. Lots of things going on across the entire spectrum. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about the NFL getting started up, a little bit about the NBA bubble, and we're going to close it out with some baseball takes as they get ramped up for the last couple weeks of games in the regular season. So, um, as you can see, uh, and anybody who knows me knows that I am a diehard Denver Broncos fan. Have been since I was a young kid. I will have a show coming up as the season gets started, kind of like the one I did about the San Francisco Giants, just introducing you to my fandom as a Broncos fan, how that got started, and some of my favorite moments. But today is a little bit of a somber morning in the Belcito house as all pro Hall of Fame, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl 50 MVP linebacker Von Miller got injured yesterday and will be out for the season most likely. So, just a real quick update on what they said this morning about the injury to Von Miller, and then I'll go into how it affects the Denver Broncos going forward. They said that he had a tendon problem in his ankle. The tendon actually wrapped itself up over the ankle bone. It's very rare. They say it's going to be a 5 to 6 month recovery after surgery. He is going for a second opinion tomorrow in Green Bay with a foot specialist. So we'll see if any other news comes out of that, possibly a little bit better news. They do say that on if the rehab goes really well, best case scenario is 3 months. So if the Broncos somehow made a run, he might be available for the playoffs, but I doubt it. You're talking about one of the top pass rushers in the history of football. Since he was drafted by the Broncos, he has done nothing but put up huge numbers. Like I said, he won Super Bowl MVP when he dominated the Carolina Panthers in Super Bowl 50. This will be a huge loss. The defense under brand new head coach going into his second year, Vic Fangio, played okay last year, enough for them to get to 7-9. It's been a one-game improvement each season for the last 3 years, and we were kind of getting the hopes up that the defense might play really well this year, and with Drew Lock and that new receiving core that he's got, Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Noah Fant, Deshaun Hamilton, KJ Hamler, Melvin Gordon, and Philip Lindsay in the backfield, that the Broncos might be a sleeper team to do some damage in the playoffs. Now, Vaughn is coming off probably statistically his worst season when it comes to putting up sacks. He only put up 8.5 sacks last year. But in that defense, he was asked to do a lot more. So, Fangio installing that second season, getting that second season started, installing that defense, you had to think they were going to improve, and he was going to be a big part of it, especially from a leadership side. Now, some of the pass rush responsibilities are going to fall on former top 5 pick Bradley Chubb, coming back from his ACL injury last year, but he seems like he's going to be on a little bit of a pitch count, as they call it, or a snap count, because he's not feeling 100% as of yet. You've got Jeremy Atachu, who was going to back up Vaughn as the edge rusher on that side, and now you would have to think he's going to go in and start. He played some good football last year in place of Bradley Chubb, but he certainly is not Von Miller. You've also got Malik Reed, who is going to have to step up. He's an undrafted free agent going into his second year out of the University of Nevada. He has shown some flashes here and there, so we'll see. There's also a few free agents out on the street. I mean, you got Terrell Suggs, T Sizzle, but he's in his late 30s. Who knows if he wants to keep playing? He got a ring again last year as a member of the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Clay Matthews out on the streets. He hasn't looked great the last couple of years, but who knows? Maybe he can give them a couple snaps here and there. part-time pass rusher and see if maybe they could go in that direction. An interesting direction also may be going to the Tennessee Titans and seeing if they would be willing to trade Vic Beasley. Vic Beasley had a couple good seasons with the Atlanta Falcons. Then he kind of struggled, signed a one-year deal with the Titans, was on their unable to perform list early in camp. They just activated him, but you don't know his status for week one, which is against the Broncos. So they do have some options. We'll see. A lot's going to fall on the revamped secondary. You got AJ Boye and you've got Bryce Callahan on the corners, and Callahan coming back from an injury. You got some youngsters backing them up. You've also got Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson as the safeties. So the secondary is going to have a little bit of pressure if the pass rush isn't up to standard. And they added Jarrell Casey on the line and brought back Shelby Harris. So we'll see if the defense can stand up. I'm going to have a Broncos preview. I'm going to have my fandom show, and I'm also going to give you guys some NFL preview, probably starting tomorrow. Looking at getting content out every day going forward. There's a lot going on, so that's the thing with Von Miller. It just looking for a bounce back year from him. He said he was working hard. All indications were that he was dominating in camp. So it's unfortunate. He's got 1 year left on his deal. That's a team option. Not sure if the Broncos are going to want to go that route with how much he's owed on that 1 year, but maybe they'll go to him and get a team-friendly extension or something to keep him around going into next season. So that'll be something to watch. Moving on to the NBA bubble over there in Orlando again. Props to the NBA for putting out a great product. These games have been fantastic. All of these series have played up to probably the same type of level they would if it was in the regular non-COVID world. So tonight we have the Celtics and the Raptors playing Game 6. The Boston Celtics looked great in Game 5. Their defense held the Raptors in check. Raptors didn't shoot the ball well. The Raptors got back in the series to tie it at 2 and then just no-showed in Game 5. But the Celtics, to me, I said it at the beginning of the playoffs on the shows that I did with my boy Young. The Celtics are dangerous and they're deep and they're playing well even without Gordon Hayward. So the Celtics could close out tonight. We'll see. Heart of a champion for the Raptors. See if they can stave off elimination. Then you've got the Clippers and the Nuggets. It's 2-1 Clippers. The Clippers look to be on the ropes in Game 3. The Nuggets had them down, but the Clippers came back. Paul George played well again. He seems to have overcome his issues he was having with the depression and the homesickness and just in general being in the bubble. So it's good to see Paul George playing like that. The Clippers can take control of this series and go up 3-1 tonight. We'll see if they have that killer instinct. I would think that they have on their mind that they want to advance and have some time to rest up for the matchup that they could possibly see with the Los Angeles Lakers. So I look for the Clippers to take control of this series tonight, but we'll see. The Nuggets have a good squad. We'll see what happens tonight. Last night, the Lakers took control of their series. They went up 2-1, another close game in the first 3 quarters, and then the Lakers came out and balled out in the 4th quarter, and it was a lot of the bench mob with LeBron taking a little backseat of the scoring and distributing the ball, playing defense, blocking shots. They just took control of the series, it seems. They're now up 2-1. They look awfully dangerous with Rajon Rondo playing the way he did last night as well. That adds just another layer of defense and ball distribution. Sometimes Rondo can score a little bit for you. So the Lakers are looking strong. I anticipate, like I've said since the very beginning, a Western Conference Finals in the Orlando bubble, the Battle of Los Angeles. But we'll see tomorrow night if the Lakers can go up 3-1, tonight if the Clippers can go up 3-1. Milwaukee, the number 1 seed in the West, eliminated by the Miami Heat. Major props to Heat coach Eric Spoelstra. He has shown that he is a great coach. This team is dangerous. They've distribute the ball, they share the ball, they shoot the ball, they play defense. Jimmy Butler is a grinder. He's going to come out and he's going to give you everything. He got a lot of heart. He is going to either pass or play defense or get you 30, whatever you need. Jimmy Butler seems like he's the dude that's going to get it done for you. I really like this team. I would love to see them go to the finals. I am really excited if we get a Boston Miami series in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think that has a chance to be a really, really good series. Would not mind seeing either team advance, but once we have the that set up, once we've got the matchup set up in both conferences, we'll do a preview show. Try to get my boy Young back in as the fan correspondent, and we can talk a little conference finals action. In that Milwaukee series, the Greek freak Giannis Antetokounmpo sprained his ankle pretty badly. He missed Game 5. They had a great performance by Chris Middleton in Game 4 that stretched it out to get to Game 5. Otherwise, they would have got swept if he hadn't come up big. The future for Antetokounmpo, he is a free agent following next season, so the Bucks are trying to get him to sign an extension. He is available for the Supermax extension, but it will be interesting to see. He seems like a guy who wants to build that squad and have his legacy be that he won a couple titles in Milwaukee, but who knows nowadays? You got guys who ring chase all over the place. We'll see what happens there. We've seen some rumors about the Golden State Warriors, of course, swinging in there and picking him up. We've also seen Miami as an option. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there with him. Moving on to Major League Baseball. Just a quick look at the standings, and shockingly, if you weren't paying attention the last couple weeks, last 3 weeks or so, the New York Yankees have had their struggles. 5-15 in their last 20 games. They now find themselves 3 games behind the second place Toronto Blue Jays and 6.5 games behind the streaking Tampa Bay Rays. So the Yankees are in peril of missing the playoffs. They're only a half game ahead of the Baltimore Orioles, who are surprising everybody, staying around 500. And the Yankees are kind of in a battle with the Orioles and the Astros. It seems like it's going to be tough. You got 2 teams in the Central that are going to make it for sure because every division is getting 2 teams. So White Sox, Indians, and Twins are all playing 600 or above. That's going to take one of the 2 wild card spots. That leaves you with the Yankees, Orioles, and Astros battling it out. So, the Yankees have suffered a lot of injuries. Giancarlo Stanton, Aaron Judge, to name a few. Their bullpen has struggled. It's going to be interesting to see if Aaron Boone can manage that team down the stretch. It seems so crazy that there's only 3 weeks left in baseball. It seems like we just got started, which we did. It's only a 60-game season, so that's going to be interesting to watch. My sleeper team at the beginning of the season was the Toronto Blue Jays, and they looked strong. I would not be surprised to see the Toronto Blue Jays knock some people out in the playoffs and get to the AL Championship Series and see where the chips lie from there. The A's are looking strong. The entirety of those top 3 in the Central, White Sox, Indians, and Twins, are strong. The American League playoffs are stacked. So that'll be interesting to follow. In the National League, in the East, the Braves, the Phillies, and the Marlins are all kind of bunched up together. The Braves do have 24 wins, so they're a game and a half above the Phillies and 2.5 above the Marlins. The Cubs seem to be pretty secure in their division, 3 games up. In the West, you probably have your 2 best teams in the National League, the Dodgers and the Slam Diego Padres, who got after it again last night with a grand slam by Will Myers. That gives them 7 grand slams on the season. No other team has more than 3. No other team in the National League has more than 2. So the Padres are looking dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. And then that brings me to my San Francisco Giants. The Giants have been playing surprisingly good ball the last few weeks. I got to give major props to manager Gabe Kapler. I was not happy at the beginning of the season. As you guys know, my sports lady Darcy is a Philadelphia Phillies fan. She suffered through watching Kapler the last couple of years bumble his way through the bullpen and stuff in Philadelphia. I was not happy at the time that he got hired, but he seems to have got this team playing some really, really good ball. Mike Yastrzemski is playing great. Donovan Solano is doing a freaking Carney Lansford impersonation, hitting about 340, 330, knocking in runs. Joey Bart seems to be coming along okay, and Brandon Belt is doing his best Will Clark impersonation, hitting about 350, um, knocking balls out of the park. The Giants' bullpen is pitching well. It would be interesting to see in the short season if we finally get a Giants Dodgers playoff series. They could make the playoffs as the 8 seed. They could also be the 7 and avoid the Dodgers. I don't know how I feel about that right now, but as we get closer to the playoffs, I will start to give my opinions as we see how that lines up. So there you have it, folks. That's my show for today. Quick baseball update, basketball update, an update on Vaughn Miller. I will have more NFL content coming this weekend and going into the weekend. I have my fantasy football draft tonight. I'm only in one league, thankfully. I'm not trying to juggle 4 teams. So I will have some fun with that. I will be back tomorrow with another sports update, and we can see what happens tonight in the NBA. Will we have a Celtics Heat matchup in the Eastern Conference Finals? And will the Clippers take control of their series against the Nuggets? And we will also update what's going on in baseball tomorrow. So I appreciate any support that you guys lend me, any views that you give me, any shares or thumbs up. As always, from Dewey, Arizona, my name is Brian Beltito. This is Sports Rambling, and you have yourself a great night.